Ottawa waits for Facebook to face the music on fake news today. Jody, Wilson-Raybould and Philpott decide to go it alone in the next federal election. And while his popularity plunges in the polls, Ontario Premier Doug Ford backtracks on cuts to crucial city services. Joining me now with the latest on these stories and more is the Globe and Mail's Laura Stone. Very busy day in politics.
I'm still recovering from yesterday, Kelsey.
Oh my gosh, no kidding. So we know that it's busy in Ottawa right now. All the tech giants are meeting. We're talking about online and how we protect our privacy. Top Facebook officials, including Mark Zuckerberg, had been subpoenaed to explain what they're doing to stop the spread of fake news. Are we likely to hear from him today?
We will not. Facebook has already said that Mark Zuckerberg and Sheryl Sandberg, the top two officials at Facebook in the U.S., will not be attending. However, their director of public policy in both the U.S. and Canada will be meeting with the committee. This has rankled some MPs on the committee who said they could be found in contempt of Parliament for this. But we will be hearing from the company, who are discussing, as you mentioned, online privacy, data breaches. We're heading into a federal election right now, and this is something that Canada is tackling as well in terms of fake news and election interference.
So speaking of the federal election in the fall, Jody, Wilson-Raybould and Philpott are running as independent candidates in October's federal election. So why didn't we see them join the Greens or the NDP?
Well, we know that they were courted by both and that they had both seriously talked with Elizabeth May, the leader of the Green Party, several times. They both said that they had a lot of respect for Elizabeth May, including her work on climate change, but they both said that they didn't feel particularly aligned with any party and that it wouldn't be authentic for them to have joined another party, and they think they can actually make a difference to get away from the partisan political culture of Ottawa, and they chose instead to run as independents in the next election.
So what does this mean as an independent candidate? Are they able to make change happen as an independent?
Well, they say that they can. It is difficult, and it's traditionally very difficult for independents to become elected, although it has happened a few times in the past. In a party, you have to toe the party line sometimes. There are things such as budgets that you have to vote with your party for, and other issues, kind of confidence issues. They say that they can be more independent on issues such as Indigenous rights, climate change, electoral reform. They can bring forward the issues that their constituents care about, and that's what they've decided to do for this next election.
Oh, this will be an interesting story to watch come the fall. Let's move to Ontario now, where Premier Doug Ford has made a surprise announcement that he is reversing major funding cuts to municipalities. The pressure from Toronto was particularly fierce on this one. So what made him back down?
Well, one of several major announcements in Ontario yesterday. Kelsey, you know what? I think a couple of reasons. One, he's facing those plummeting poll numbers. There was several polls released in the past couple of weeks that show that Premier Ford's popularity is going way down. And there was, as you mentioned, extreme outcry from both Toronto Mayor John Tory and other mayors in municipalities across Ontario who said that it just wasn't fair that they were instituting these cuts after they'd already passed their budgets. And Premier Ford said that he had listened to this criticism, and so he was reversing it, and he wants to work with the municipalities on their budgets for next year.
It was an interesting political scene yesterday to see Doug Ford say that they're not right all the time. And we know that, right? We all make mistakes.
But this is kind of becoming a pattern with this government. We've seen them retreat a few times now in the face of criticism and outcry. If you look at their autism program, for instance, that was introduced and then significantly rolled back. And so the danger here is that it is becoming kind of a pattern for this government to make rash changes without consulting the major players involved and then to have to roll that back.
I appreciate your insight this morning.
Thank you.
Globe and Mail's Laura Stone, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks.